Welcome back to another episode of Staff Spotlight. I'm communication and media major Olivia Cook, and today I'm joined by Jennifer Herzog, who is an associate professor in biology here at Herkimer College. So, hi, thank you for coming in today.
Oh, thanks for inviting me, Olivia.
So the first question that I had for you is just, what would you consider the reasons for choosing a career in science?
So no, that's a really good question, and the answer to that is I have had some amazing teachers in my life, starting from fourth grade, Mrs. Robinson dissecting a frog, and just completely inspired me to want to learn more, be involved in science, and it continued on that I had really strong, and they happened to be female teachers in the sciences, and just always gave me the educational support, academic support, and more to encourage me to pursue a career in science, which a lot of times women aren't as supported in doing so, and so that I think is probably what really gave me my biggest push. So, and then just further reinforced by college faculty. Larry Aronson at Utica College was my mentor there, and I started working in high school. And to this day, we're still colleagues, and he still is my mentor and my sounding board to always go back to in terms of needing that support whenever I need it, to encourage me to keep doing different things in different avenues and areas of science.
So specifically, what were the steps that you took to get to this point in your career? Were there any interesting steps and processes?
Had some twists and turns along the way, definitely. So I went to a local high school. I'm actually a VBS graduate, and then chose to stay local. I went to Utica College for my 4-year degree in biology. And again, because I had started working in the lab with Larry Aronson there and realized all the opportunities that awaited me from my freshman year, where at other schools you might not get to work in a lab until you're a junior or a senior. And so had just incredible experiences in the lab and in the sciences at Utica College as a biology major there. And then was recruited to many top-tier programs in microbiology for PhD programs, and wound up choosing the Yale School of Medicine. And so wound up at Yale to do my graduate work. And then, students ask me that all the time. You went to Yale, but you're at Herkimer. And I say I'm lucky. I truly am. This job kind of came out of nowhere at the right time when I needed it, and it was the perfect fit. And nearly 22 years later, I can say I absolutely love every day of my job.
I read that you started at Herkimer in 2001, that's correct?
That is correct, I know.
And what was the exact process of starting here?
Yeah, well, it turned out that in graduate school, as much as I loved science and I loved research, I realized I was a much better teacher than a scientist. In order to be a good, effective scientist, that means 80 to 90 hours a week working in your lab, fighting for grant money that year by year was going away, and it was harder and harder to get. And I'm really lucky that I always was given the chance to teach. At Utica College, I was a TA once I was a sophomore and a junior, so helped out prepping labs and teaching sections with faculty. And then when I was at graduate school, we had actually a group that a bunch of us kind of put together, because it wasn't expected that scientists taught. We just did our lab work. And there were those of us who thought, you really need to know how to teach to really be able to educate and do your science well. So we kind of created this working at teaching group. And it led to me working at Quinnipiac College, which was right down the street from Yale. And so I was an adjunct there, teaching labs at night, working in the lab by day and then night again. And it's all of that experience that really allowed me to realize how impactful you can be as a teacher. And that's what kind of led me down this path. And the job at Herkimer opened up. I applied for it and wound up coming back home, which if my parents are watching this, they will remind me every day that I said I'm never going to come back home. So if I can tell anybody watching this, guess what? You may come home and it may be just exactly what was meant to be, and you can have such an amazing impact on where you came from, whether you realize it now or you realize it in 10 to 20 years like I did. So yeah.
Is there specific things that you enjoy most about working here? Any specific challenges about your career in general, really?
I've been very lucky that along with teaching, I've still been able to keep my hand in research. So I do have a lab that I can work in and have some projects. Some students and I have published some papers in the past. I'm still able to work with the International Microbiology Society, and so I go to conferences yearly and give presentations. So I'm still able to keep my feet in that professional world, which is really great because it helps me stay on top of all the new and current information in my field of microbiology and science in general. And that comes back to reflect on my students. They get the most cutting edge new information taught to them. And so it's really been wonderful to have that flexibility. That's been fabulous. And to know that when I come to work each day, that knowing that I can inspire just one student each day, that really says something. And the older I get, I think the more that really sinks into me. I am so lucky to have that opportunity each day. And conversely, to have my students inspire me. Mm-hmm. And the questions they ask, and just a lot of, sometimes just to have them ask, Mrs. H, how was your weekend? It's wonderful that I have a job that I can come in and teach and inspire, but I can also have some really amazing conversations with my students and my peers and my coworkers. And again, that's why I say I'm lucky, because this is the job that was meant for me, and I'm so glad that it was there waiting for me at home.
Yeah. So with the career in science, what specific challenges do you think that you face?
At the community college, this has been so flexible. I often jokingly say to family and friends, I'm lucky I don't have a real job. And it is. I work very, very hard, but we're lucky that we have the flexibility so that I can be, the professional scientist at the meeting in Washington, D.C., yet I can be teaching my general bio lab and we're flashing lights at our planarians, but I can be home and cooking dinner for my kids and taking them to their field hockey games. And so that probably is the biggest challenge, again, and that comes with any job, is the juggling, but one has to decide in science of, which path do we want to take? Do we want to take that purely professional? Do we want to just be an educator? Or in my case, I've been lucky to really fuse the two together.
And what other ways are you involved, on campus and in the community? Because I read that you were also involved in the honors program too.
Yeah. So gosh, it's been about almost 5 years now that I was very fortunate that I was able to take over to the college honors program here. And that was a really amazing day, and I can still remember the phone call because I had looked up so much to Mary Jo and what she had created with that experience for students in that program, and had helped mentor students in the program in the past, and now to be able to become the director to really create these engaging experiences for students. We're here to create a strong academic student, but the honors program helps me allow students to grow as a person. Not only the academics, not only your A, B, C grade, whatever, but to think, to engage, to interact with the community. So that is another big part and aspect of my job, which again has been just so rewarding just in the 4 to 5 years that I've been running it. I serve on a number of committees. I am the chair of the Scholarship Working Group. And so this is the organization that right now, yes, applications are available online for the HCCC Foundation Scholarship, so I have to put that plug in if I could. So yes, free money, please apply. You never know what scholarships you could be up for. And so our organization, our working group, then vets and goes through all those applications, and we're able to have the best job on campus to award money that has been, donated through gracious donors on campus. So that's another big aspect. It's probably the biggest, most important committee that I'm on. It is wonderful to show students, good job, kudos, and here's a nice award that will help you hopefully financially achieve your goals moving forward. And then I do a lot of K through 12 science outreach in the community. So with the pandemic, that's slowly getting back on track. But prior to that, multiple days a month in the afternoons, I would be pushing into anywhere from kindergarten to 12th grade classrooms, and I'm Miss Jen, the science friend, as they call me, and so going in and doing fun hands-on science activities, again, trying to hopefully be that person that inspires these students to have a love of science, whether or not that winds up being their career or just something they have an interest in. But I also run a local science book club. I have to put a shout out for the Oneida Public Library, and we have a group of about 15 to 20 people that, once a month we get together and we read science books, from fiction to nonfiction, and just what an amazing gift to be able to have, to be able to get a group of people together from such diverse backgrounds and have science be the commonality and come away with amazing perspectives and questions and truly lifelong friendships that we've had develop in this club. So I know, not enough hours in a day, there's the challenge, right? But I've been lucky to be able to do so much with my time here because it has been just so rewarding.
So outside of the roles that you play on campus and in the community, what other interests and hobbies do you have?
Number one, I'm a mom, so I have 2 kids and 2 dogs. So yeah, number one, I am mom, and I always joke that's my hobby right now. That's my hobby right now. But I love to cook. I love to bake. Everybody knows around me that is what I do to de-stress is I put my 50s and 60s music on and I cook around the kitchen. I am a huge Buffalo Bills fan, so I'm from Buffalo. So yes, I'm always hanging out, listening to the radio podcasts and everything, how the game's going to go, that we don't want to think about last weekend's game. But yeah, and we're big outdoors people. We're a national parks family, so we travel the U.S. a lot, going hiking and visiting lots of different national parks and just traveling in general and loving the outdoors.
For people that want to pursue a career in science or just have a general interest in it, are there any tips that you would have?
Seek out people around you and ask questions. You never know unless you ask. If somebody's doing something that interests you, send them an email or go knock on their door and ask, because you know what? That could open a whole doorway into an opportunity that you never expected. I am so glad that it's nerve-wracking sometimes to do that, but the benefit and the payoff at the end is unbelievable. And so that's what I tell students all the time. Get out there and ask. And because you never know what topics can come up, whether it's going to help you in your career, in life. It's, again, about becoming that well-rounded human being, and that's really what we have to focus on here at the college, not just your academics. That's important, but we want to produce really good people that are going to make a difference in the world.
And then the last question I had for you is just, is there any sort of fun fact or thing that people might not know about you that you want to include?
Mrs. Herzog, fun? I don't know about that. I thought about this. I collect snow globes. So if you come down to my lab, my whole lab is filled with snow globes. My office is filled with snow globes because my family has kicked them all out of my house. So whenever I travel, I always get little tiny snow globes to remind me, and I've had students purchase them for me and when they've gone places. So that's kind of a quirky thing that maybe a lot of people don't know about me, that I collect snow globes.
So I think that concludes the episodes of Staff Spotlight for this semester. Thank you all for joining and watching all of them.